I hadn't even taken off my jacket when my father said, "I didn't realize they let college dropouts in these days." Some family members laughed. I nodded and sat down at the end of the table. Then, my sister's husband asked me where I worked. I told him the name of the company. He fell silent, looked me up and down, and murmured, "Wait, you're my boss." The silence that followed was absolute. "I'm Alex, I'm 32 years old, and I'm the CEO of a tech company. I founded the company 10 years ago, it's now worth approximately $280 million. I have 450 employees. Offices in 3 countries. My family doesn't know. I never told them. I dropped out of college at 20. I was in my second year of systems engineering. I had an idea for a business data management platform, something that medium-sized companies needed but didn't exist at an accessible price. My parents were furious. My father, Miguel, is an accountant. For him, college was the only path to success. Without a degree, you're a nobody. My mother agreed. How are you going to get a good job without a degree? My sister Carolina, for years my senior, also chimed in. You're irresponsible. Mom and Dad paid for your college. They didn't listen to me. I dropped out. I moved into a small apartment with 2 friends. We worked 18-hour days for 2 years. We launched the platform. We had few clients at first, but it grew by word of mouth. More clients, more revenue. By the time I was 24, we had 30 employees and $2 million in annual revenue. By 28, it was 100 employees and $50 million. Now, it's 450 employees and $180 million in annual revenue. My family never asked. They assumed I had failed, that I was working some mediocre job. I didn't correct them at first because I was busy, and later because I realized they didn't care. For the last 10 years, my contact with them has been minimal. Occasional phone calls, awkward Christmas visits. This year, Carolina organized the Christmas dinner. Mom insists you come. It's Christmas. I didn't want to go, but I agreed. I arrived at 7, to a large house in a nice neighborhood. Carolina opened the door. Alex, you made it. Come in. There was no hug. The house was full. My parents, uncles, cousins, Carolina's kids running around. My father saw me. I didn't realize they let college dropouts in these days. Some uncles laughed. My mother smiled uncomfortably. Carolina said nothing. I nodded. Hello, everyone. I sat at the end of the table, the seat farthest away. No one objected. Dinner proceeded as usual. I observed more than I participated. My father talked about his job. Carolina, about her kids. Felipe, her husband, about his work in finance. No one asked me anything, it was as if I wasn't there. After dinner, my father initiated the annual ritual, everyone gives a work update. Carolina talked about focusing on the kids. Felipe mentioned his job in risk analysis. Where do you work? An uncle asked him. At a tech company, business data management. Finally, my father looked at me. And you, Alex? Still in tech support? Something like that. Still doesn't require a college degree, I take it. It doesn't require a degree. How convenient. Does it pay well, at least? It's enough. My father nodded with disappointment. Well, at least you're working. Felipe, who had been quiet, suddenly asked, Alex, where exactly do you work? I said the name of the company. Felipe froze. He looked at me. Really looked at me. Wait, he said slowly. You're the Alex. Which Alex? The CEO. The founder. He's my boss. The dining room fell completely silent. Your boss? Carolina asked. What are you talking about? I work for Alex's company. He's the CEO, the founder. My boss. My father laughed nervously. Felipe, I think you're mistaken. I'm not mistaken. I see his picture on the internal portal. Alex Chen, CEO and founder. Chen is my mother's maiden name. I use it professionally. Another reason my family never connected the dots. Alex Chen. My mother looked confused. Why do you use that name? Because it's my mother's name. Carolina looked at Felipe. Are you sure? Completely sure. He approved my hiring. He's on all the corporate emails. He is the CEO. My uncle asked, CEO of what? Felipe answered before I could. Of one of the fastest growing tech companies in the country. It's worth about 280 million. He has over 400 employees. Everyone looked at me as if I had grown a second head. Is it true? My father asked. Yes. Since when? Since I left college. 10 years ago. And you never said anything? You never asked. You all assumed I had failed, and I let you. My mother tried to recover. Son, that's wonderful. Why didn't you tell us? Because you didn't care. When I left college, you called me irresponsible, a failure. For 10 years, you never once asked what I was really doing. You just assumed the worst. But we're your family. Exactly. And still, you never asked. My father stood up. Alex, if this is true. It's incredible. We should celebrate. Celebrate? 10 minutes ago, you were wondering if my degree-less job at least paid well. We didn't know. Because you never wanted to know. The silence was thick. Felipe was looking at me with a mixture of respect and embarrassment. He had just realized he'd had dinner with his boss while his in-laws treated him like dirt. Carolina finally spoke. Alex, I understand you're upset, but this is a lot to process. I'm not upset. I'm just tired. Tired of being the family failure when, in reality, I built something none of you could probably even understand. My father tried to smile. Well, now that we know, we can. You can what? Brag about me? Ask me for money? Act like you've always supported me? Alex, don't be like that. Be like what? Honest? I stood up. Thanks for dinner, Carolina. I'm leaving. Alex, wait. I didn't wait. I walked out of that house and didn't look back. My phone blew up that night. Calls and messages from everyone. Carolina, Alex, please come back. We can talk about this. My mother, son, we are so proud of you. Why did you leave like that? My father, Alex, I overreacted. I've always been proud. Call me. I ignored them all. I didn't block them. I just ignored them. I wanted to see how far they would go. Felipe texted me the next day. Alex, I am so sorry. I didn't know who you were when I spoke. If you want me to resign, I'll understand. I replied, don't resign. You're a good employee. This has nothing to do with work. Are you sure? Completely. What happened was personal, not professional. Your work is excellent. That doesn't change. Thank you. And really, I'm sorry. Carolina called me 3 days later. I finally answered. Alex, we need to talk. I'm listening. Dad wants to apologize. Mom, too. Can we have another dinner? A quieter one. I don't want another dinner. Then what do you want? Nothing. I don't want anything from you. You're our brother, our family. I'm the brother you ignored for 10 years. The family that assumed the worst without asking. We didn't know. Because you didn't want to know. Carolina, in 10 years, how many times did you ask about my life? My job? What I was doing? Silence. Exactly. Never. You just assumed I'd failed, just like Dad said. Alex, I'm sorry. I am too. But I don't want to do this right now. I need space. How much space? I don't know, but I need it. I hung up. The following months were about healing. I focused on myself, on my company, on rebuilding my sense of self-worth outside of my family's approval. I started therapy with a therapist named Dr. Ramirez. Your family built a narrative about you, he said, and you believed it until you couldn't anymore. But I never told them the truth. Why do you think that was? Because I knew they didn't care. And confirming that would have hurt more. Exactly. You protected your achievement from their contempt. He was right. For years, my success was mine, private and protected, because I knew that if my family knew, they would ruin it somehow. I also started delegating more at the company. I hired an excellent COO. I started working fewer hours, having a life outside of work. I joined a mentorship group, helping young entrepreneurs, especially those who had dropped out of college, those who had been called failures by their families. It was therapeutic. Seeing their faces when I told them my story, knowing they weren't alone. 3 months after that dinner, my father showed up at my office unannounced. My assistant buzzed me. Mr. Chen, your father is here. He says he needs to speak with you. I hesitated, but agreed. Send him in. My father walked in. He looked small in my large office, looking around with wide eyes at the city views, the expensive furniture, the reality of what I had built. Alex, this is impressive. Thanks. I came to apologize. For real this time. You already said that. But I didn't say it right. Alex, I was terrible to you for years. I treated you like a failure when, in reality, you were more successful than any of us. I have no excuse. I wanted you to follow a traditional path, like me. And when you didn't, I got scared. Scared of what? That you would fail, that you would suffer. But also, that you might succeed without me. Without my approval. Without my path. That surprised me. Real honesty. And now, he continued, now I see you didn't need my approval. You never needed it. You built something incredible without it. It would have been easier with it. I know. And I'm sorry. We sat in silence. Dad, I appreciate the apology, but I need more time. I understand. I just wanted you to know that I'm proud. Truly. He left. I stayed in my office, thinking. 2 weeks later, Carolina texted me. Alex, I need to tell you something. Mom and Dad are in financial trouble. Bad investments. They're going to lose the house. Why are you telling me this? Because I thought you should know. I'm not asking you for money. Just. So you know. How much do they owe? About $200,000. The house is in pre-foreclosure. I didn't reply immediately. I processed the information. And then I had an idea that would change everything. I contacted my lawyer. I want to buy a property that's in pre-foreclosure, but I want to do it anonymously. Which property? My parents' house. I gave him the details. He looked into it. They're in serious trouble. The bank is about to foreclose. They owe $200,000 plus interest. I can buy it through a shell company. They'll never know it's you. Do it. But I want something else. Allow them to continue living there temporarily, say, for 6 months, rent-free. Yes, as if the bank were giving them more time to sort things out. And after 6 months? After 6 months, we'll see. The purchase was processed in 3 weeks. My parents received a letter from the bank. Your debt has been acquired by a third party. You have been granted a 6-month grace period before eviction proceedings will commence. Carolina texted me, confused. Alex, something weird happened. An investor bought Dad's debt. They gave them 6 months free. Do you know anything about this? No. Sounds strange, very strange. But Dad is relieved. The months passed. I continued with my life company, therapy, mentorship. I started dating someone, an entrepreneur who understood my world. My father would text me occasionally, simple messages. How are you? Thinking of you today. He never mentioned money, never asked for anything. 5 months after buying the house, I made another decision. I was going to turn that property into something meaningful, an incubation center for entrepreneurs, specifically for youth from underrepresented communities. A place where people like me who dropped out, who were called failures could receive mentorship, resources, and a space to work. It would be my legacy. Not money for my family, but opportunity for others. 6 months after that Christmas dinner, my father turned 65. Carolina organized a dinner. She invited me. Alex, I know things have been tense, but it's his birthday. Would you come? I accepted, because this time, I was coming with a purpose. I arrived at Carolina's house. Fewer people this time, just the immediate family. My parents, Carolina and Felipe, their kids. My father saw me and smiled. A genuine smile. Alex, you came. Thank you. Happy birthday, Dad. The dinner was calmer, no jabs, no sarcasm, just normal conversation. After dinner, my father opened gifts. Carolina gave him a shirt. Felipe, tickets to a game. My parents were grateful for everything. Then, I pulled out an envelope. Dad, I have something for you. Alex, you didn't have to. Open it. He opened it. Inside were legal documents, deeds, bank papers. My father read, his face shifting from confusion to shock. What is this? It's the house. Your house. I bought it. What? 6 months ago, when it was in pre-foreclosure. I bought it through an anonymous company. That's why you got the grace period. My mother took the papers. She read them. Alex, you bought our house. Yes. And now comes the important part. In 60 days, you're going to have to move out. The silence was total. What? My father seemed not to understand. I'm going to turn that property into an incubation center for young entrepreneurs. A place where people who dropped out, who were called failures, can get support. But that's our house. It was your house. Not anymore. You have 60 days to find another place. My mother started to cry. Alex, you can't do this. We're your family. Exactly. I'm your family, and for years you treated me like trash, like the son who amounted to nothing. We apologized. I know, and I accept your apologies. But this isn't revenge. It's purpose. That house is going to help hundreds of young people who need the one thing I never got from you, support. Carolina intervened. Alex, this is too much. Dad is 65. Where are they going to live? Do you have savings? Pensions? Can you rent? Like most people do. I paused. But I have something else for you all. I pulled out other documents. These are for your kids. Full scholarships to the university of their choice. Tuition, room and board, everything. Courtesy of my foundation. Carolina took the papers. Scholarships. Yes. Because unlike their grandparents, I believe in supporting education unconditionally. I looked at Felipe. And for you, an offer. My main competitor is looking for a director of analysis. Double your current salary. I've already spoken with them. The offer is yours if you want it. Felipe was in shock. Why would you do that? Because you're a good employee and you deserve better. A company where the boss isn't complicated family. My father stood up. Alex, this is cruel. You bought our house just to kick us out. No. I bought your house to save it. You were going to lose it anyway. Now, at least it will serve a good purpose. And what about us? You have options. More than I had when you called me a failure for dropping out of college. That was years ago. And it hurt for years. But I'm not doing this out of pain. I'm doing it for purpose. My mother tried to approach me. Son, please, can't we find another solution? This is the solution. In 60 days, the house becomes the Alex Chen Incubation Center. My full name. My legacy. My father looked at me with a mix of fury and something else. Respect. You always knew who you were, didn't you? You never needed our approval. No. But it would have been nice to have. And now, it's too late. For some things, yes. But not for everything. You can be a part of my life, but on my terms with boundaries, with respect. And if we don't accept those terms, then you won't. And I'll be okay with that. My father left the dinner furious. My mother followed him, crying. Carolina stayed, holding the scholarship papers, speechless. Felipe looked at me. Is the offer real? Completely real. Think about it. I left that dinner without weight, without guilt, only with clarity. 2 months later, the incubation center opened. My photo on the wall, my story told, helping others like me. My parents found a smaller, more modest apartment, but it was enough. Carolina accepted the scholarships. Her kids would go to good universities, debt-free. Felipe took the offer. Better job, better pay, no complicated in-laws for a boss. And I kept building not to prove a point, but because it was what I loved. My family learned that respect isn't optional. And I learned that the greatest success isn't money. It's the peace that comes from knowing your own worth, with or without anyone else's approval.